Hi guys, Steve here. We're going to install some RV locks today. Came in from RVLock and Company, and what we have is the keypad lock for the door. We also have the key fobs, so we can do it wirelessly or remotely. We also have the Bluetooth side, so we're going to set it up on the phone. Stick around, the adventure starts here. Okay, so here comes the official unboxing. So we have all the parts that we need to get this thing done. So in this box is the RV lock itself. And then this is the box that has the Bluetooth wireless module. So let's see if we can get this lock installed in under 10 minutes. So let's see what's inside this box. First of all, the directions. So those are important. We'll stick those over here so that we can come back to that. Yep, and I was right. There's the what look to be key fobs. So let's take those out of the box. And what I like about what I see so far is these look really clean. Something I did some research on with these locks is that they actually come with the ability to do two sets of locks. So the orange set up here will do your primary lock. The bottom set here will do your secondary lock. And so if you wanted to put other locks on maybe your baggage doors on the sides, you could do that if you wanted to. Next, we're going to take the lock out of the box. And I like what I see here. So my keypad. 1 through 8 on your combination. So that's something that's a little bit different than most. So 1 through 8 is going to have to be our code. It can be repeating digits, but just not, you don't want to do things like birthdays and things like that. Looks pretty simple, pretty straightforward here. This is the battery bay, so we're going to take the screws off of that and check the batteries out. These two cables will connect. So we'll do a dry fit of these once we get everything, the old lock off, and see what that looks like. And then let's look at the Bluetooth module. So this is the Bluetooth Pro module, and as anticipated, there's our directions for it. So we'll set those aside over here as well. This is probably the transformer, yep. So we'll go ahead and use this transformer to power up the module. And with that transformer, we've got the pop-up here on the kitchen island, so we'll just do a temporary setup here to get that part done. Nice layout here on the pinnacle. This, I guess, is the Bluetooth module itself. So, yep, as anticipated. And that's from RVLock as well. Looks like you plug the power in on this side. This will be your power button here, the little light to tell you what you've done. So we'll talk through that as we get further along. Last on what we have here is the Velcro. So I've changed up the Velcro a little bit. This is the Velcro that it came with. If anybody's ever experienced the Velcro before, it works great once or twice, and then the Velcro comes off of whatever it is that it's stuck to, because it's just not like meant to come off. But if you have to take it off, it's a little bit of a pain. So I like to use this stuff called Dual Lock. It's from 3M. So we'll put a link down there in the comments below so that you can get to this. This stuff's really great, and it's from 3M, so it's not going to come off on the adhesive side. And then with these little modules that they have on here, pull those together, and it's stuck on pretty good. So we'll put this in the basement, power it from one of the outlets down in the basement, and that way it'll be kind of out of the way, but accessible if we need to get to it to program or anything like that. First thing we got to do is make sure we've got good batteries going into this thing, so I'm going to go ahead and take the battery door off. So one of the great things about this, don't have to worry about adding batteries. Looks like we got 4 Duracells in here, so we'll go ahead and get those put back in and get this put back together. That's pretty awesome, batteries included. How often does that happen? Way to go, guys. So get the batteries put back in. We'll get this plate put back on. All right. And there we go. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take the old lock off. I'll do a dry fit on this. One other special thing that's going to happen is part of the installation process that we have here is going to be with a decal. So I talked to the guys at RVLock, and they did a great job getting everything in place for this. So the lock itself doesn't exactly cover the old footprint of the original lock. So what they've done is they've created a decal, and with this decal, it kind of sits behind, so it looks like a little bit of a seal maybe, that goes behind it. So we're going to put this on the outside, and then it's going to look like one ginormous, beautiful lock. I've got all the pieces laid out on the counter. I'm going to take the screws out, follow all the directions again like we just did. So let's go on outside and get this thing done. I'm going to take these 4 screws out that are holding the lock on, and then at the end of that, we'll go ahead and take the latch plate off. So 2 screws on that. So these 4 screws here first. Okay, and that's the latch handle off for the inside. Let's go ahead and take the latch plate off on the outside. So the latch plate is off. This should just pop right out. So a little bit of work to get it out, and there it is. So we'll do a dry fit test run of the new lock and the decal that's got to go on there, and then go ahead and get that screwed in place and see how we close. Okay, so we're just going to put a little cleaner on the outside of this just to get all the schmutz off that's there and make sure that the decal's got some good adhesion. I did do a check really quick to make sure it's going to cover up this line here where the paint is, so full body paint. Got to have the decal on there, otherwise this brownish area will stick out on the end here and on the bottom and on the top. So just give it a quick clean and a couple of squirts of the stuff here. Make sure we don't have any road residue left over on anything. Okay, and we should be good to go with the decal. As I mentioned earlier, we also received the black trim decal from the guys at RVLock to match up to the edges of the lock and hide the tan-colored base paint. Whenever you position the tape onto the object you're adhering it to, it's important to do a test fit by pulling away the tape and reapplying a few times. I probably could have used an edging device like you might find from a Bondo or a window film kit, but the area was so small that once I got it into position, I just used my fingernails to make sure it was pressed firmly into place and that all of the air bubbles were out from underneath. If you do get an air bubble, don't worry, just take a safety pin or a straight pin and slightly penetrate the center of the bubble, then smooth in towards the center of the puncture you created with the pin. So the decal had to be put into place first, then the lock added, making all of the black blend together, as we'll see later when we program the codes. Once you place your order for your lock, just remember to look and see if you'll need the decal, which is necessary for the full body paint coaches like our Pinnacle. In the end, this application had a great outcome, and I'm really happy with the final result. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick fit of the lock to make sure that everything is aligning right and get this put in place here. And then once this is in, we'll go ahead and put the inside latch on. And that looks great. I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and put the latch plate on. And you just want to snug these up. You don't want to over tighten these. We'll switch views and we'll come in and we'll actually look at this side of it. But I like the way that fits. It's a great look. I think with how the latch works, the deadbolt works, we've got all the pieces that are going to do what they're supposed to do. All right, I'm about to put these wires together. I've already done a little bit of a fit to make sure everything's in place. Just as a side note, you do have the key code actually on the lock as well as on the keys as well as in the box. They want you to write it down in the directions. Save that for later, so we'll get into that in just a second. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and connect these up and then put the plate on. So that'll take this connection. There's my beep, like it said in the directions. I'll tuck these wires in just a sec. Once I've got my screw ready to go here. So it's a little tricky here because you've got this little tongue that sticks out, which fires the latch back and forth for the door, and you got to get the wires in there. So kind of a little bit of an octopus thing going on here to get this on there right. But once you get everything lined up, check it out, make sure that the deadbolt throws, make sure that the latch throws. There it is. I got to push this in a little bit. There, we got it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put those screws in. And again, I'm not going to tighten these down. Just going to get them snug in there. All right, now I'm going to do a test look here on the latch, make sure that it works okay, make sure the deadbolt throws okay. Looks like it's great shape, so I'm happy with that. So I'll go ahead and snug these up first. Okay, looks great. I like the way that works. The lock's installed, it works great. Let's go ahead and get some programming done. Okay, so just a point of note, if you ever want to see the tutorials from RVLock, you can go to rvlock.com and they have all the tutorials there. But why do that if I'm going to do it for you? Okay, here we go. So to do the code change, right now 1234 is my code. So I'm going to press and hold the 8 button and the lock button. And then I'm going to type my default code, 1234 lock. And then I'm going to type the new code, 4321 lock, 4321 lock. That tone says that it was a successful entry, so we'll go ahead and give that a try. So right now it says, there's my unlock button. Let's just make sure, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it makes the right noises, so we're good to go on that. So we'll hit the lock button just to try it. And there it is locked. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, unlock. That doesn't work. So 4, 3, 2, 1, unlock. And we're good to go. So the lock went in great. The fit was great. The way everything latched was on point. I did change the latch plate for the lock side of the wall so that we didn't have to have any play in it. There was just a little bit of gap in the other one. The new one that came with the new lock made it so that it was a little tighter. So I've got all the pieces still. I'll save those for later. In fact, this will be put back in this box when everything's done. And if for whatever reason that fails, I've got a backup. So that'll be great. This is the Bluetooth piece. I'm going to go ahead and get this plugged in. And we're going to go into the app mode next. So we'll just let this get to its point where it's happy. So I think it is. It's got a blue light on it right now. Program button is right there. So we'll follow the directions here, get these key fobs learned in, and we should be ready to roll. Okay, so the last step as far as the key fobs are concerned, getting them learned into the lock, there's a button here that you need a pen for in order to activate. So we'll go ahead and press that button. What we'll do is, according to the directions, we'll hit that, and that little button will activate. It'll give us some beeps. We'll press the lock button on our key fobs, and that'll learn them in. Now you have to do that each time you want to learn one of the key fobs in. So we'll do the press and release, we'll do the lock on the button, and then once that's all done, we'll confirm that they all lock and unlock the door. So the first step that we're going to do is go ahead and hit the key fob learn button. And then we're going to hit the lock button here. Got our successful beep, that's one of them. We'll do it again. That's 2. And then we'll do it one last time. Okay, so they should all be learned in. So we'll go ahead and hit the lock button with this one. And it locked it. We'll hit the unlock with the second one. And it unlocked it. And we'll go ahead and hit the lock button again. And one more time just for fun. Works fine. All right, so the next step that we're going to do is add the phone to the RVLock Bluetooth device itself. So we'll hit the plus sign on here, and we'll go ahead and click on the button here. That'll make the light flash, and then we're going to go ahead and add the Bluetooth device here, and it says connected. Fantastic. Next step is, on the back of the handle, make sure that the switch is on, which we know it is. Press the fob learn button again. So we're going to press this button. And within 10 seconds, press the lock button on the app. So let's go back inside the app. Voila, we're in business. So now we can lock. And from the app, unlock the door. All right, guys, that's a wrap. This was really easy. It's been a lot of fun putting this in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of good information out of it and what to do, what not to do. Last thing I want to point out, there's a on-off switch that's here. That on-off switch disables the Bluetooth from working. So that means your key fobs and the Bluetooth on the phone will not work if that's in the off position. So that's it. That's a wrap for that. I'm going to hang on to the lock. Again, I'm going to put this in the box, keep it in the basement so that if this ever fails, I've got a fallback. And last thing, I'm going to go ahead and take the directions and I'm going to put that into my notebook. What we did is we created a notebook that has everything in the RV in it. So for example, before the cold snap, I did a quick maintenance on the generator, followed all the M1, Q1 stuff that was required for that. So I've made a folder for this. I'm going to go ahead and stick this down inside of it now. And we'll talk about this maybe in another video. Until then, please leave your comments. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. That way we can make sure that you know when the next adventure starts here. If you ever want to see the tutorials from RVLock, you can go to RVLock.com and they have all the tutorials there. But why do that if I'm going to do it for you? It'll never play piano again.